Hi and welcome back. So in this video, we are going to understand GraphQL versus REST APIs. So GraphQL was basically introduced to cater to the need of an efficient and flexible way to develop an APIs. So GraphQL also helped the developers to overcome certain inefficiencies that they were facing while creating an API. So before we dive deep into that, let us first understand what is REST. So REST is basically an architectural constraint. It's a constraint and not a protocol. So any API that basically adheres to those constraints is known as a REST API. Second, the REST API is stateless. What this means is that the server does not store any state pertaining to a client, and all the requests that are being made to the server are independent and unconnected with each other. Now, this REST APIs, when called via an HTTP protocol, will fetch the data in either JSON, HTML, plain text, and so on. So let's now consider an application that caters to multiple clients on their web applications or on their phone. Now, we will be having a backend or a server wherein we'll be having hosting our application, having our databases and everything. So now we have a server ready. So how do these clients interact with these servers? That is via the REST APIs. What happens is this REST APIs exposes multiple endpoints to which this client subscribes or makes a call, and via that they receive the data that they need to fetch. So with GraphQL, what we are going to do is instead of using these REST APIs, we'll be making use of GraphQL. Now let's try to understand the certain problems that we faced while using REST APIs. And the first of them is the problem of overfetching and underfetching of data. Now to understand this, let's look at a particular example. Now suppose I have a website wherein I'm showing just the product name. To fetch this product name, I'll be basically making a GET call as get slash product and the product ID. In this case, it's 123. Now this get call fetches me certain details related to product, such as image URL, name, price, product supplier, and product expiry. Now if you look at this data, we only needed the product name. The rest of the data is superfluous. Now let's look at the problem of underfetching of data. For this, let us consider a web page wherein we are showing the product name, the other products that are being sold by the product supplier, and the product review. Here, to fetch the product name, we'll be making a call get product 123. To fetch the product list, we'll be making another get call. And to fetch the reviews, we'll be making a third get call. Now the problem of underfetching is clearly visible over here. In the first call, I don't get all the details related to other products and reviews, for which I have to make an individual independent calls for get product list and product review. Now you might argue that I can achieve this in a single call. Yes, by passing the query strings over here. But while doing so, we are already trying to solve the problem that is already being solved by GraphQL. Now let's see how GraphQL solves it. Now with GraphQL, we are making a post request to a particular endpoint. Now let's understand that with GraphQL, we'll be making a post request to an endpoint which is being exposed by GraphQL. The thing to remember here is GraphQL only exposes a single endpoint as opposed to REST APIs which expose multiple endpoints. So here along with the request, we'll be sending a particular query wherein the client specifies the data that he needs and the format in which he needs it. So here is the client who is in control of the format and the data that he needs instead of the server. So once this query is being processed, it returns the details to the user, which looks like this, wherein we only have the product name, the other products that particular vendor sells, and the reviews. So if we remember from the earlier part of the video, we are making multiple calls to fetch the same data. But with GraphQL, we are doing the same with a single call. So there is no underfetching and overfetching of data. Another issue that GraphQL helps us solve is the versioning issue. Now let's understand this. Suppose there was a client A, right, to whom we were catering to using this API, a get call, get version 1 item and the product ID. Now after few months, the company grows, our understanding of the system improves, and we hire or we get another project from a client 2. This client 2 has a better understanding of a particular system as compared to client 1, and he suggests certain changes in the response that an API sends to him. Now, these changes would cause a breaking change in my version 1 API that I'm already using for a client A. So now, what I'll do is I'll create a version 2 of the item API that specifically caters to the client 2. So we can solve this issue in GraphQL. So with GraphQL, we don't have to worry about versioning at all because we'll be exposing only a single endpoint by a post call, post method. So every client would be specifying the data format that it needs via the query that it would be sending to the GraphQL. So we don't have to worry about the versioning part because GraphQL will take care of it for each client based on the query that it sends to it. So what are the benefits of GraphQL? No issues of underfetching and overfetching of data. We don't have to worry about the versioning, and it's easy to maintain as it exposes only a single endpoint as compared to REST APIs wherein it exposes multiple endpoints. So with this, we come to an end of this video. In the next video, we're going to try and set up the environment like Visual Studio Code, installing Node. So stay tuned and take care.